Hey guys, Vance here, back again with another Supercoach video. As I'm sure you've all heard, Yeo is out, and we're going to go through some replacements or what you can do with that money. So, in my case, what I've done for my team is Yeo's gone down to McKenna. McKenna is someone I did want on my team, but I didn't have the funds for him. And then I've actually moved Ridley up to Sicily. So, overall, it's banked me about 4,500 in the bank, which works really nicely for a lot of these mid prices. I didn't want to change anything in the midfield because I think that's the real core of this team, but the 45,000 does mean that in a worst case scenario, any one of these four mid prices here can go to Setterfield. If Setterfield goes off, and they obviously don't, so that's very nice to have. So it's good flexibility to have that bit of extra money in the bank. Sicily is obviously a keeper, 100%. Ridley, in my opinion, was probably between your D5 to D10, where I do think, looking at Sicily, Doherty, Dawson, Stewart, they're all going to be the top 1 to 4. So moving him up, it just guarantees a top 6. And I really moved a mid-pricer down to a rookie on the bench specifically, which doesn't feel good, but I've moved to basically a guaranteed keeper there. So I'm very happy with that. I was more happy with the team previously, but what can you do? The other things that I could consider with that money, if I did go down the Stewart, I could bring Davies up to McLean. McLean is someone else I did want in my team, but that really leaves me with only a few thousand, and there's not really any room that if any of these go wrong, that they can go up. They would all have to go down. Obviously, we have the Callahan if we did want to go down, but I think it's just a bit better flexibility to have a bit of that extra money in the bank since we have so many of these speculative picks. So that's why I've decided to go for the Sicily. Instead, I think Stewart, overall, as I say, gets me McLean, which I think is better than Davey, but I don't like having no money for if one of these players happen to flop. Now, what I could have also done here is potentially, if I didn't get McKenna, I didn't get McLean, so basically just remove McKenna. Sicily goes back down the Ridley, and I would have enough money to push Phillips all the way to Setterfield and then maybe move McKenzie to the bench, which, to be fair, I actually love the idea of doing that, but I do think that these three rookies, Ashcroft, McKenzie, and Phillips, they're all just must-haves. They're all going to make serious bank. I think they're all guaranteed to basically make the 150. They all have very nice roles, and they've looked good for what we've seen. Phillips specifically, obviously third year in the system, I couldn't not see Phillips working out. So the only reason I'd ever, consider this, and it might be a little bit wrong of me hoping this, but if for some reason Phillips isn't playing in round 1, I might generally consider going, because we'll find that out tomorrow night. The team should be revealed from North. I'd go McKenna down again to Cowan. Sicily can go down the Ridley, and then we could push for a Setterfield, put McKenzie on the bench. Putting McKenzie on the bench isn't the worst case scenario in my opinion, just because he's a first year player. I think he definitely looks the goods, and you definitely want him on the field, especially for that price. But I just love the idea of all these mid prices. The only other thing that does do is it would put me very low in the bank, which I don't want to do, and then it does mean that there's less versatility for me to flex out to if one of these picks go bad, because I'll already have Setterfield in the team. But I guess that's just what I'm looking at in my team. What I guess other people can be looking at, depending on your structures, you can obviously flip Yeo to one of these other mid prices. There's obviously Hunter Clark and Will Davies are probably the two most popular around that price. Hunter Clark personally doesn't really float my boat. Same with Will Day. I think Will Day is probably the better of the two in my opinion, especially with that new Hawthorn revamped midfield. But obviously he's played defense before. I think we've even seen him on the wing. He has a lot more versatility in his kit. But I don't know, Hunter Clark, he just doesn't float my boat. I haven't enjoyed watching him as a player personally, and it's just not where I would go with that. I'd feel a lot more confident, honestly, if you say you're running 4 premiums in the midfield, maybe even going down on one of these premiums. As bad as that sounds, say you got a Jelly in there, maybe flipping a Jelly to a Dawson or something like that, and then moving the money from Yeo into like a Setterfield or a Warple or one of these midfield mid prices. I think that's definitely a good option. I think that's much better than any of the other mid prices. As I mentioned with my team, you can do the same thing as me, where you go down to a rookie and use the money to improve the team elsewhere. Maybe get players that you want that you couldn't because you didn't have the funds for them. But I think that's much better than any. I'm not happy with really any of the defender mid prices. I think it's even nice if you do a Bruin or a Fife. There's no problem there. So depending on how your forward line's looking, I think it's a lot better to be flexing into either the midfield or the forward line if you want to go with that mid-pricer and you want to stay with that sort of structure that you have. Saying that, obviously you'll have to flip a premium potentially out to put an extra premium in defense if you're going to move that mid-pricer through. Obviously you could try and flip a rookie out and bring him through as well. That is something you could try. I guess if you had a Chesser, you could remove Chesser and bring in like a Cowan up here, put McKenna on field, and then put another mid-pricer on the field, especially if you're running Ashcroft, McKenzie, and Phillips as like your M6, 7, and 8. I think there's no problem pushing Phillips to the bench, or even McKenzie, whichever one you don't like out of the two. I think Ashcroft obviously has to be on field. But I think they're definitely viable options for you. So yeah, just flexing that mid-pricer into a different one of these midfields or forward roles. Obviously, because we have just, I think, better mid-prices around that price. Or using that money to, as I said, upgrade elsewhere. And maybe just, even if it's upgrade these rookies, move Davies up to McLean, Cowan up to McKenna, maybe move up to a Flanders, move up to a Bruin. I think a McLean up to a Flanders is really nice. So I'd be really happy with a move like that. Or as I said, in my case, you can obviously just upgrade a premium. Ridley to Sicily. Is Ridley probably more value? Yes. Is Sicily guaranteed basically top 6 for defense? In my opinion, yes. He's going to be solid all year. Even if you're paying a bit overs for him, I don't see him getting moved out from the top 6. The only thing that, as I said, makes my team feel a bit iffy now is I think previously every single player I had, I think, represented value. I think bringing Sicily in, unfortunately, he doesn't represent the same value. As I said, if anything, you're paying maybe overs for him. But hopefully, at minimum, he can perform at his same price. Perform what he's priced at. He was obviously electric last year, 113 average, I believe it was. So it'd be amazing to see that again. So yeah, that's at least how my team's shaping up. As I said, I think they're the options you guys should be looking at. Obviously, I know my midfield is a lot deeper than a lot of these other midfields, in the sense of mid prices, that is. So as I said, if you're running 4 premiums or so, flip that out. I think could be a play. If you may be running obviously the 4 premiums in defense and you maybe you're a bit iffy on one of them, I guess you'd look at the premiums and the rookies that you're maybe not 100% with, and I think make the flip there and move them into a different, move that money into a different part of the team and utilize it there. Obviously, when it comes to mid prices, you guys can look at my team and see which ones I value the most. Ash, Hopper, I think everyone should have Hopper, but I think Ash, Warple, NWM, really good picks. I think Setterfield's also a really good pick. Not a personal fan of the Dom Sheed pick. Fife is definitely an option. I prefer Bruin over Fife. I think I mentioned this in my very first team reveal that I did have Fife in there. Fife definitely can perform above his price, but he is being used as a main forward now, so he's definitely going to have those lower games. Saying that, he's also just an injury machine. There's a good chance that you get 2 games in and Fife's just out for a week because he's done something. So I think Bruin's just the safer of the two. Obviously, you can maybe go down to a Flanders and then still use the extra money there, Flanders or a Callahan, and then use the extra K to fix up the team elsewhere. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking, guys. That's my suggestion to you. Obviously, do your research, look into it, tinker with the team a bit if you need, and see what you like the look of, what feels good. And honestly, feel free to be bold with it. Just, you're not going to win or have an outstanding season by playing it safe. Hey, you might, honestly, but you're probably going to have a lot more fun just being bold and doing something that you love the look at rather than playing it safe. So yeah, that's just my video for you guys tonight. How exciting is it for footy to be back tomorrow? I cannot wait for that. So good luck with the season, yo. I'm Not expecting to do another video, but if I do, I guess I'll see you then. But most likely I'll see you for the round review. Peace. Later.